stars? How many people get stars?
Hey.
Apparently, get an extra 20 bucks if I come up and say, to watch this, you're going to have to subscribe, and trust me, it's going to be worth it. Alright? Now, let me introduce who we have coming on here. First of all, she'll be playing Sura. Please welcome Erin Cummings. All my pronunciations right here, playing Torre, I think. Peter Mensah. The next executive producer, head writer, Stephen DeKnight.
Sorry about that, I thought I could get a voicemail.
And a couple of names I'm going to assume. I don't have to assume, I'm going to assume you know these people. The executive producer, a gentleman by the name of Tapert. Lastly, a young lady I expect big things from. I don't know, I expect very big things from her, playing Lucretia, the lovely and talented Miss Lucy Lawless. You guys hear me?
No?
There, it's working. I'm being DJ for now. Thank you guys for coming, first of all. And I know, actually, maybe before we get started, there's one person who couldn't make it today. So, Steve, you want to...
Yeah, our star of the show, Andy Whitfield, who plays Spartacus. We looked high and low for a man that could fill those sandals. And we found a perfect person. Unfortunately, because of production, he could not be here since we shoot in New Zealand. But I think we have a little clip of Andy introducing, for the first time ever, the trailer for Spartacus Blood and Sand.
Why don't you guys maybe start a little bit and tell how this project kind of came about, why pick on Spartacus, and then maybe the genesis of it.
Spartacus was actually an idea that one of Sam Raimi and my partners, Josh Donnan, had. He brought up the idea of doing a new version of Spartacus, and although the idea that originally he had didn't come to fruition, the idea of retelling that classic story and that great and re-realizing the dramatic potential that story had was something that was innately appealing. And after a slight jiggle and hiccup, we ended up at Stars telling them that we wanted to make the boldest, strongest show on TV, an action show that could only be seen on premium cable, and that would really challenge what was now the bar as to what one could see on television, and that brought Stephen into the process.
Yeah, I was first approached. I was working on Dollhouse at the time, and when they said Sam Raimi and Josh Donnan and Rob Tapert, who I've always wanted to work with, I jumped at the chance. And you know, the way we're approaching this is completely different from anything you've ever seen before. I mean, it's not your daddy's Spartacus. It's big, it's bold, it's bloody, it's sexy, lots of sex and violence, and a death toll that you've never seen on television before.
I'll watch after that. And I mean, actually, a lot of characters. I mean, it's almost literally seems like a cast of thousands in a way. But a lot of characters. Maybe we can go through a little bit and describe everybody. Start with Lucy. Talk a little bit about Lucretia and how she gets out.
I play Lucretia. My husband runs the Ludus. That's a training camp for gladiators. And the owners of gladiators, they're kind of high-class slaves, really. And we are really the lady, and I'm a Macbeth character, and he plays Macbeth in essence. And I don't like Spartacus too much, but I sure like some of the other gladiators. which is really stressful. Shooting those scenes, but it's a thrilling show. I've never been so excited to promote something. Stephen, your writing's incredible. Every time, when you get a scene, you go, oh, I wouldn't do it that way. My God, I wouldn't do that way. And we keep coming back to, oh, it was much better the way it was written, just say the darn words. It's really brilliantly constructed and written, Stephen, so thank you.
And brilliantly acted.
And so how about maybe describe Sura a little bit before.
I play Sura, who is the wife of Spartacus, and as you can see from the trailer, Sura gets ripped from Spartacus' arms quite early this season, but through the brilliant storytelling of Stephen tonight, as well as the rest of our writing staff, my character is able to continue to live throughout the story with Spartacus. And it puts me in a unique position to be able to I only work with Andy Whitfield. All of my scenes throughout the series are with Andy, so I have a wonderful ability to actually get to do incredible things with him, fight scenes and love scenes and very dramatic emotional scenes, and also light jovial scenes that show the character of Spartacus in a way that we don't see when he's necessarily in the ludus and when he's fighting. You get to see the man and what makes him tick and why he's willing to fight so hard and why he's going through this journey. So it's a pretty wonderful position for me to be in, to actually get to see the love and most excitingly, the passion of Spartacus, which comes out quite a bit in these scenes. So I'm Sura, Spartacus' wife.
And what I've seen so far, I would say the bulk of the ass kicking that goes on, Dr. at least gets to teach the ass kicking. Who is he?
Yeah, I played Dr. the gladiator trainer, and fairly true to, I think, the time of 73 BC, most gladiator trainers were called victorious. And it's my job to whip Spartacus into shape, and which I proceed to do with a little bit of passion and a whip. And it's a great story. And actually, over the course of the time, I learned a great deal about sort of a time entirely forgotten, which feels like a fantasy time to us now, and sort of an incredibly barbaric but heroic world. So yeah, it's fun. At this point, Stephen has written a pretty great character for me to play out in this. So looking forward to showing you the rest of it.
And one thing that we were talking a little bit about before, to get in shape for this, is everybody just made me feel so damn fat watching the show. You guys are in such great shape. But the boot camp you were talking about, which I guess you did a little bit of, what was the boot camp?
Well, we did about a month prior to shooting, we did about a month of gladiator boot camp.